everyone. Before I start, I just wanted to first apologize for my energy levels. I don't feel well. So I'm just going to try my best to, be as vibrant as I can be. But thank you so much, everyone. I just want to say first and foremost that I have deep respect for everybody in this room. The first thing I said when I was messaged about speaking here was, I was like, wow, it's beauty professionals. I didn't necessarily think that I was like the perfect fit to speak here. But before I ventured into running a business, by the way, I've run a product business for 5 years. I'm the founder of Texture Science Labs. We are a innovative hair lab working on lab-made hair extensions. I've also run my business, Natural Girl. Some of you might know us as Natural Girl Wigs for 5 years. And we've done amazing. But before I ventured into all that, I did digital marketing and communications, specifically for market entry. So for businesses that wanted to enter into a new space or a new market, or companies that wanted to venture into the global market, or even coming into Nigeria. So I have experience working with other businesses mostly to achieve their goals, which is connecting with people with focus online, right? So that's what I've done. Also, before I came here, came on this podium, I realized that there's a duplicacy of most of the things I wanted to talk about. Most of the speakers have addressed, how to sort of target customers, how to create a niche for you in the beauty space. So one of the things I did was just ask a couple of people around me on what are the things they would want someone to talk about from a marketing and branding, with focus on branding and marketing that has not been discussed here. So I have a couple of things. So if you look through what I've prepared, you realize that most of the things are things that other speakers have touched on. So knowing all of that, I would want to just focus more on things that I feel, might be valuable, especially in context to most of the businesses that are here. So we all know that beauty is a very saturated market. There's 1,000,001, beauty salons or nail salons and all of that. But I also think that beauty is probably the biggest market in the world, right? So I don't really like when people come from the approach of, everybody's doing everything. Because at the end of the day, everybody needs everything, right? There's salons that are focused on getting you the right extensions. They are, even when you talk about hair extensions, yes, everybody is selling wigs or everybody is selling hair, but there are people focused on maybe the highest quality of hair you can get, and they are making a killing at it. There are people focused on mid-range human hair extensions. There are people focused on synthetic hair extensions. There are people focused on just making sure that you can wash your hair and clean your scalp, and they get a lot of customers because they have their area of focus. So yes, beauty is saturated, but beauty is also probably the biggest market in the world, maybe after fashion, right? So it's very important that no matter the space you're in, do not really look at the fact that, there are so many people in this space. Even in that saturation, there's so many opportunities. Personally, for me, I like businesses where the market is big, because if the market is big, it means that there's a lot of opportunities, right? So the first thing you need to think about is, how can I, just create a niche for myself? How can people know me for something? Another thing I want to say is, when people talk about niche, we often think that, niche means that I need to be doing something that is totally different from other people. So let's say everybody is selling hair extensions, then maybe I need to focus on selling wigs that are below this price. That is a niche. But niches are not necessarily you don't necessarily have to think that way. It could also mean maybe a particular pain point that people that maybe buy hair extensions, or people that offer spa services, right? So for example, one of the things the first speaker said was that when she opened her spa, she realized that most of the people that would come to her spa were people that wanted an Instagrammable moment, and not necessarily even the luxury market that she was targeting. So she sort of zoomed into that and just ensured that our locations always have that. She sort of prioritized that segment of customers. So again, it's like even in starting your business sometimes that you notice like, oh, these are the people that really care about me. Let me double down on them and stuff like that. So it's very important for you to look at how you want to, separate yourself and how you want to like target yourself. One of the examples I want to give on that, let me just use myself. When we started Natural Girl Weeks, one of the things we realized was that so let me just go in a bit. When I started my business, the reason why I started was because I was looking for textured extensions myself online, and I realized that most of the businesses I was finding were businesses in the US. Like it was, at that time, it was like I Giving Hair, Better Lens, they were like all of these other businesses, right? And I'm like, oh, I'm sure there are other women like me in Nigeria who wanted those options, and I just didn't find them online. So what I did was, instead of me just like starting the business, I started an Instagram page. I started an Instagram page at the time called Brown Girl Nigeria. And what I did with that page was, I used that page to sort of like validate myself. So are there people like me who are actually looking for these options? What is like the black beauty space in Nigeria like? So I wanted to sort of like create a community before launching the business. So I started the page, and anytime I saw like a Nigerian celebrity or like an American celebrity where like textured afro hair, we would post them. People would love the hairstyles. And after like a couple of weeks, people started DMing us and say, oh, do you know where I can get this hair? Do you know where I could get this? So I realized that there's actually like room for that kind of business in Nigeria. And then we launched. And by the time we launched, we already had like customers waiting for us because we started as a community first. But one of the things I did to sort of like establish ourselves, which brings me to one of the points I want to talk about, is sort of like collaborating with each other. Not necessarily each other, as in obviously, nobody here is going to say, let me go to a fellow spa owner or a fellow nail studio owner to collaborate with them on business. But there's always like adjacent businesses that sort of like share the same customers as you. And especially if you're starting, I think it's a very good way for you to establish yourself in an industry. So there's someone we actually partnered with. She's here. So Madam Kemi, she was like probably the biggest natural hair salon at the time. And I reached out to her personally, and she was like, oh, this is my rate as an influencer and everything. And I was like, actually, yes, we're going to pay, but that's really not what we wanted. What we wanted is, we wanted to leverage on the authority that she had, which is show our customers that someone who owns like a natural hair salon trusts our product for their customers' natural hair. So aside from even paying her, we actually took cameras to our salon, have her demonstrate how she would use the product on her customers, have her talk about, or maybe these are the tips or the techniques she would use with the product and everything. And that video was like very valuable to us, because aside from us, because we even told her that, I mean, you might post on your page, but like it's not really necessary for us. But what we wanted to do was, we wanted to get authority from someone who people already trusted. So even if you don't know her, by us just introducing her on our page and saying, oh, Madam Kemi, she has like years of experience in the natural hair space, and she trusts Natural Girl Wigs for like fussy hair extensions and things like that. And that at the time brought us a lot of credibility, right? So always, if you're trying to like establish yourself within an industry, look for people who are like adjacent in the business, in the industry, for them to give you some sort of like credibility. And that credibility can be leveraged across different channels. So I know that the focus is on like marketing and digital marketing and everything, but I've seen different kind of trends. I've seen many platforms. I've seen people use TikTok today, use Instagram tomorrow, use Facebook and all of that. But when it comes to marketing, there are some things that are very fundamental, and I always advise people to get the fundamentals right? So one thing in marketing, people need to trust you. People need to trust you, and finding ways you can collaborate with people already in an established industry is one way to get that trust. Another thing is that people need to be able to recognize you. People need to be able to differentiate you. And while it's very good for you to have like the necessary branding, your logos, your colors, things that stand you out, as a marketing professional and someone that's operated an online business for years, one of the things I always say is that your storytelling is the most fundamental part of your branding, right? There are businesses that on Instagram that they don't have the exposure that some businesses have. They don't have the degrees. They don't have even the logos. They don't even have like a very sophisticated website, but they always make a lot of business. Like, people know them. And the reason people know them is because there's something people can connect with them on. It could be maybe because, they relate with their customers and they're very laid bare. Some of them might even tell you that, this product, if you get it, you only be able to use it 2 times. Like, don't come to me if you're looking for a product that will last you for 10 years, right? Yes, like, that's very pedestrian. But the point is that customers need to connect with you on a certain level. And I always tell people that in everything that you do, yes, branding is important. Yes, having a good website is important. Having like the most sophisticated tools, like using Splice, is important. But there has to be something that connects your target audience to you, right? One of the things I want to mention here is understanding your target audience. So I did say here that what are their beauty concerns? What trends do they follow? What motivates them to choose one service or product or another? But I want us to focus on something I said here, which is that why some of them are underserved, even though there are lots of options to choose from. So you realize that there are some customers that have like very peculiar like problems. Like, yes, there are people who make nails, who focus on nail health. There are people who focus on getting you the best pedicure. There are people who focus on different kind of things in like the nail space. But there are also some customers that they've tried different nail options. Like, they don't want to leave their nails bare like mine, but they also don't want to like the French tips or like everything that people do that is fashionable. So it's important that you find, like, especially when you're just coming into the market or when you're trying to establish yourself, it's important that you find that there has to be something in the middle that customers want that everybody might not be doing, or even if everybody is doing it, they're not really focusing on it as if it's like their bread and butter, right? So one of the things I recently just did was I found someone to come and make my nails for me in the office, because I realized that when people talk about beauty maintenance, we talk about beauty maintenance as if it's some form of healthcare. Like, you go to the spa, you go to, like, it's very Instagrammable. But I personally don't see it as healthcare because it disrupts my routine and my schedule a lot, right? I cannot think of me going to the spa, doing my nails, doing all of these things the same day. It's literally like a 2-day process. So what I did was I found someone that could come and do my nails for me while I'm at the office. I found someone that can plait my hair under the for my wigs when I'm in the office as well. And there are businesses that just focus on that, and they realize that our customers are in the office. Maybe it's even like in VI or in Lekki, and like our customers typically have to change their cornrows under their wigs. Let's create like a service or have our stylists, we send them to offices, or even to, because it's not every office you can go and play there, but people that have like entrepreneurs, and like let's help them do that. So it's always important, especially when you're entering into the market, to find 1 or 2 things that the big businesses, they have like all their rich customers to deal with. They have a lot of services that they've not even finished, that you can just make and say, you know what, this is how I want to enter into people. So maybe it's you offering services that a lot of people are not really offering, but that is also very important to a subset of customers. That's a very good market entry strategy. Another thing I want to say about market entry strategy is sometimes the least expensive services is how you bring in people. I know that a lot of people always think about businesses and it's like, oh, they're making this particular business makes this for like 100,000, for like 150,000, and if they get maybe just 5 customers, like our day is made, right? But when people are just trying to like test you as a business, you need to have something called like entry level for your customers, where it's like, yes, these people don't know us. They probably don't want to spend 1 million naira on hair from us yet. What are the little things that we can use to bring in this customer? Let them experience our services, experience our products, and then we can scale up the offerings that we give them. Again, I'm going to use myself as an example. So when we launched my business, yes, there was a lot of market for us in Nigeria, but we started getting requests from the US as well. And as of today, like the US market is like 50% of our business. But one of the things we realized is that when people found us as a new business, they didn't want to spend $300 or like $500 buying extensions and not necessarily liking it. Like, that's a very steep amount. So we decided to start selling like synthetic textured hair extensions products. So we'll look at like our competitors at the time, the styles that they had, and then we'll create like a synthetic version of it, right? And then so if someone had like say this website had like this week for $450, we had an option for $65, right? And there's always like different kind of customer groups. There are customers that they want the human hair, they want something that can last them for years. But there are also customers that know that even that human hair, they don't know how to style it. They probably just want to wear it once or twice or whatever. So we're able to bring in those customers, and it made shopping on our website very fast. So when people visited our website, they didn't need to spend so much time deciding, should I buy this product? Should I trust these people? Should I look at the reviews? It was very easy for them to check out with buying like cheaper products. And that was like a way for us to, get in people. And over time, we actually increased our average order per customer, or even the average order value of our product. So sometimes you getting customers, try and look for like entry-level products, entry-level services that you can use to bring people in. It could just be cornrows, it could be washing hair, but do it in the best way where they then think of like other services that you offer, and then you look for how to bring them in. Like that's very, very crucial. And I think for new people, especially in the business industry, to gain people trust, you have to let them in first. When they come in, they can decide based on the service you render to them that they want to scale up and trust you more. So building a strong brand identity, I already touched on this, but I just want to also mention again that I really don't want you to think about branding as logos, thinking about branding as your website alone. Yes, those things are important, but it's very important for people to know you for something, which comes again to storytelling. When I asked the person sitting beside me if she wanted me to touch up on something, she said that one of the things she finds is that with Instagram and Facebook and all of these platforms, that how do you sort of like make yourself stand out? Like she said that a lot of people are complaining about Instagram ads and how it's just expensive to acquire customers. So I just want to share one thing. So Facebook is sort of like, or ads in general, it's sort of like you sending someone into the market square to talk about you. So think about targeting as, you send this person into the market to just ring a bell and tell everyone about you. Facebook's job is to tell as many people about your business as possible, and hoping that in those groups of people, they can find a couple of people who are interested in buying from you, right? Now, the problem with that is that many people are not interested in buying immediately, right? People want to first maybe follow you. People want to first be interested in kind of services that you are rendering. So one of the mistakes I find businesses making is that a lot of times they are running ads as if I need to sell to somebody now, which is not a bad thing. But if you think about Facebook as any other form of marketing, you need to think about it as, first of all, people need to know you, right? People need to trust you. People need to have, there has to be like an inclination for them to want to try you out. Because again, we know that the beauty space is saturated. We know that there's a lot of things. Sometimes I find, I can find an ad for like a microblading service, and I just see them microblading someone's whatever, and it looks clean, it looks nice and everything. But more than often, I've probably seen like different kind of ads like that. So what is going to make me choose between the number of ads that Facebook is, showing me? And one of the crucial things you have to do when you're advertising your business is, even though it's like an ordinary ad, you need to give everybody that is watching that advert one reason to choose you over the next person. Like, if you're not doing that in every single creative you're doing, like, you're literally throwing money away. Because let me tell you something about Facebook, and I use this app for myself. If I'm looking to buy something, I literally just search that thing on Instagram. I look for businesses that do it, and I just close the app. By the time I open the app again, Facebook is going to flood me with ads of different people doing the same thing. And then I'm going to have to choose. And let me tell you something, the only reason I'll choose one person after the other might be based on my personal needs. So maybe I'm looking for someone in like a Ikeja, and Facebook shows me this microblading or this makeup service and it's in Ikeja. I'll look through their page and I'll decide to go for them. Sometimes I might decide to go for them because maybe I have a personal problem with a lot of makeup artists. And this person in the makeup services they are doing in their ad, they are telling me that, one thing, we don't waste our customers' time. In the ad about makeup, or it could even be like another kind of like spa or whatever services, they're not just selling me on the service alone, they're selling me on something. Let me give you guys an example. So last year, I had to like work with a physiotherapy on my knee, and I I was just scrolling through Instagram and I found a spa. And that spa was not just selling me on like the usual massage and everything. They were demonstrating how they've like helped their customers that had like maybe knee issues to have like very technical massages and stuff like that. So like obviously I didn't think twice before booking them because it was very specific to what I needed, right? And you can say that Facebook is smart because I've probably Googled massages that have to do with that. And the reason why Facebook served me that ad is because they know that it's relevant to me. So if you are advertising, please do not just advertise your services alone. There has to be something that would make someone make that decision. And if you analyze your customers and your services in a situation where you're not just analyzing them based on their age, based on the city that they live in, you'll find that there are many opportunities for you to target people more like just better than what you would do if you're just showing them videos of how your customers are happy. There are some people that when it comes to braids, they are very tender-hearted, right? If I see a braid service that is telling me that we have stylists that are very trained with tender scalps, it's a different message than someone just showing me braiding services, right? So Facebook ads are great, but at the end of the day, it's what you give it that it's giving you back. And in a pool of thousands of businesses advertising their products, you just have to be different. So I would say that 80% of the performance of your ads, on whatever platform, TikTok, Snapchat, is the creative you're uploading to it. And the way you actually get your creatives to perform is by being more specific, by targeting things, by mentioning things that you do better. It could be in the areas you're located. It could be in these specific services that you offer. But don't do ads where you're just talking about your services alone. Go deeper and talk to customers more personally. The second thing I want to say is that when people see your adverts, the first thing they do is actually come on your page, right? So it's one thing to advertise well, it's another thing for your page itself to be very optimized. And I see that a lot as well. If I click on an ad and I go to your Instagram page, and maybe your last post was 5 days ago, sometimes I'm not even sure if you're still in business or something. And also, even with your post, if I'm not really seeing... Sorry, are you saying that 5 days is too small? Yeah. Yeah, so I mean, for me personally, like I want to know what the latest is. And maybe 5 days is an exaggeration, but I just don't see. No, I just don't. No. I just don't see. I really need to know like what's up, especially when it comes to services. For me, especially when it comes to services, right? I want to know like maybe like the recent styles that you've done or something like that. And it also goes back to like what someone said about like messaging businesses and not getting a response in like real time. Personally, I feel like if you're not posting in 5 days, what's the probability that you even checked your Instagram page in 3 hours, right? Like, so like that says something. And posting might not necessarily even be like on your feed, but sometimes even in your stories. Sometimes if I don't see a business post on their feed, I immediately like tap their stories and see if there's something happening or something like that. So it's very important for you to just be like engaged, right? And engaged doesn't mean that maybe you're just posting back to back. You can also post like strategically, right? So I think it's very important for businesses to be at like that touch point where people can communicate with you. Another thing is businesses saying, oh, you can only communicate with me through a certain channel. And I know the first speaker said that she doesn't, to be honest, even me, I still don't understand the logic behind that. And I don't know, maybe I'm not just at that business level, but I don't understand the logic behind, oh, you can only communicate with us through one way. But yeah, it's very, very important that you're meeting customers in like where they are, and I don't think that really matters. So in terms of like just building a brand strategy, it's very, very important for you to like have a story, have something about you, whether you're marketing with ads, whether it's your Instagram page, just be speaking to customers in a way that is like really unique to them. So by the way, thank you so much for the guys at Splice for designing this. So they just took pictures on our website and they just, plastered it everywhere here. So I want to talk about even like brand identity. So one of the things we did with our rebrand, because we recently just rebranded our business as well, is that we actually realized that a lot of our customers were people that are not really like into the hair space. They're not people that really want a lot of technicalities, like, is this hair this setting with? They're people that are just looking for looks to buy, right? So if you operate like an Instagram business in Nigeria, one of the things you realize is that people are messaging you very on the spot. Like, I have a wedding to go on Saturday. I have to be at my friend's this thing. So I'm trying to like shop for things. So what we realize is that a lot of our customers wanted looks, right? They wanted maybe like a bob look. They wanted something that could make them, set them apart on Instagram to like take pictures. So that was what we zoomed into. So if you go on our website right now, you will see us categorizing our customers, which is glam girl, bob girl, curly girl, and just giving people something to like just click on. And one of the things we realized is that since we relaunched, most of our customers were not just buying one product. And most of them were just going to the departments. Like, they were just going to, if someone clicks on curly girl, they're probably buying like 2 wigs in that category because it was relevant to them. So one of the things you want to do in like branding or communicating is just talking to people. What do our customers really want? Sometimes you have a totally different idea of what your customers have. Like, an example is the first speaker, where she said when she opened, she was all about luxury. And for her, because she was opening in VI, like, do the math, she was opening in VI, she had like luxury spaces. It makes sense that her customers are luxury people, right? But when she started getting the customers, she realized that they're actually not luxury people. They're probably people who just want to have a taste of the luxury, right? And then those are two different kind of customers. People that want a taste of luxury and people who already live in that luxury. So just doing things when it comes to branding based on who your customers are and what they actually need sometimes are the things that set you apart. And one thing about the online space is that you can curate whatever aesthetic you want. There are some pages you go on Instagram and you just know that this is not for me. There are some pages you go to and you feel like welcome there. There are some brands you even go to their page and you feel like you can't afford their product. It's because of how they've curated themselves. So it's very important that even in your branding element, you understand who your ideal customer is, and you sort of like, design your feed, design your Instagram and all of that to look like them, so that when they come on your page, they feel like home. Like, a lot of people just will not buy from you if they don't feel like they belong there, right? And I know that, yes, some people might come, but just in the aesthetic of how you curate your page, you can attract the people that are like your target customers. Sorry. So I don't really have a lot of time. I'm just going to round up again by zooming in on the things that I've talked about. The first thing I want to say, I mentioned that is very important to entering into a market of finding yourself customers is collaborating with people who are relevant in that industry. They don't have to be your competitors. There could be people in the beauty industry who are working in adjacent, services to yours, but they help to give you credibility. And when it comes to the beauty industry, especially now that we have a lot of services that are very personal, like microblading, fillers, like all of these things that demand a level of trust, just building that credibility and leveraging other people is super important. One of the second things I talked about was in Facebook ads, marketing, and all of that. It's very important that when you're advertising, you are giving people a reason why you are different. Like, there has to be a reason why you are different. The market is saturated. It's a big market, but it's also important for you to carve a niche for yourself. I also talked about storytelling. Storytelling, a lot of times, is what separates people. And storytelling doesn't mean you have to get the most sophisticated consultant. Sometimes it's just looking at other people in your industry. How are they promoting themselves? What angles are they giving themselves? How are they, making themselves stand out from other people? And you can, in that moment, find something about yourself as well to make you really stand out. And also curating things for your ideal customers. Aesthetic is important. Aesthetic doesn't mean colors. It doesn't mean all of this. It's just your customers seeing themselves in you. If people see themselves in you, it makes them feel like, oh, okay, this person is creating these products for me. This person is creating these services for me. So always curate your aesthetic for your ideal customer. Another thing I touched on is the importance of you finding your ideal customer. Like, even after you've launched, sometimes you think your ideal customer is this person, but in listening, in social listening, in you just even looking at the group of people coming to you, you realize that, okay, maybe this is not my ideal customer. I need to start creating more for my ideal customer. I also talked about Facebook ads, and the reason why I always talk about Facebook ads is because I believe paid marketing is one of the most guaranteed way for you to find customers. It's a platform that is very gamified. And I know that a lot of business owners are coming from backgrounds where you're not necessarily a marketing person. So it's a lot of jargons and you're not really exposed to it. But when I spoke to my new friend here, she told me that she had, that she realized that she was boosting a lot of ads on Instagram and none of them was doing anything for her. And then she had someone within her team, she had someone within her team who had, showed her how to run Facebook ads from the Facebook ad manager instead of just going through Instagram itself. And then she did the ads the day before, and then she woke up to 442 messages, which she wouldn't get even in a month with Instagram. So I think one of the important things is that it's important for business owners to actually look to professionals that can do one of two things for you. The number one is maybe train you or your staff that has the ability to learn certain things. Because if there's a way to make money and it's something that can be learned, I don't think you should just abandon it to the idea that you don't know how to do it. So it could be you that is available to learn. It could be someone within your team who you feel might have the flair to learn stuff, but always go out to try and get knowledge. And the second thing is if you can afford it, maybe outsource it to someone that can do it outside of your company, right? But don't leave money on the table because you can't figure something out. Everything is learnable. That's one thing I believe. You can learn everything. So she went from going on Instagram to advertise to going on Facebook itself to be able to use the targeting tools that Facebook have. No matter the kind of beautiful page you have, there are just some opportunities that Instagram boosting of pages cannot do for you. Facebook will allow you to target people by the kind of amount of money they spend on other people's websites. If a customer can spend 200,000 on a website, Facebook knows that they can spend 200,000 on a website. If a customer is living in Ikeja and they often go to beauty locations around there, Facebook syndicates with Google, so they know someone that is always searching for beauty supply around there. And I think the last thing I want to say is that marketing and branding is not something that you do once and you just have it in motion and you don't need to update it. It's very important that you're consistently keeping up with trends. It's very important that you're learning the new ways that people are doing things. It's very, very important that you're looking at your own data. There's nothing that will speak to you more than your own data. Another business might be doing very well in something, but maybe because of a unique way they are doing things that you might never, you will never really be exposed to their secret sauce because you're not inside their business. But you're inside your own business and you can use your own data to continue to reinvent yourself. So thank you so much, everyone. I hope I've been able to share one thing or two that is very valuable to you today. Thank you.